Hey everybody, welcome back. Good afternoon now, and we've got more college football stuff to take a look at here today. And we are moving on to a position group that I actually was impressed by this week. I think this was a really nice week for college football wide receivers. And if you need a wide receiver in this upcoming draft, I think this is the class for you. Although we kind of say that every year, I feel like every receiver class is good and every cornerback class is good these days because those are where the good players are really required. So we also had some offensive linemen. I'll talk about them. Less impressive over there, although there was some good stuff. And at the end of the day, if you're a team that needs this stuff, you only need one, right? You don't need three centers. You don't need four right guards. You don't need five left tackles. You just need one really good one. So even if the scarcity is there, that doesn't mean it's not worth looking at. All right, so before we get into these wide receivers, let me tell you guys a little bit about Sleeper. Before we go any further into this video, I want to tell you a little bit about my friends over at Sleeper. Have you heard about the app, the Sleeper app? Download it. I'm going to let you in on a little something now. It's more than just a platform for fantasy leagues. Yes, this year, millions of users enjoyed playing fantasy sports on Sleeper, but there is so much more to this app. There are live stats, real-time updates, and visualizations on all stats. News feed is lightning fast. You get updates on your favorite players and teams. There is a chat you can use in real time to engage with other users about plays and performances. All kinds of fun stuff like that over there. So download the Sleeper app, the #1 sports app today. Experience it yourself. Use promo code SBN to get a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states. Check out Sleeper today. SBN promo code. Back to the video. All right, welcome back. So, great week for receivers, and these are all pretty high-profile receivers. There's no super small school guy this week that we're going to talk about. There's not some, like, 7th-round sleeper that you have to talk yourself into. These are all credible NFL prospects that could be day 1 picks and have a very good chance of at least being day 2 picks. Jordan Tyson, I think he's been receiver 1 basically since back in February. I think he's the guy pretty clearly that is going to be the Tet McMillan of this draft, where he's just clearly a top 15 pick. Arizona State, playing with Sam Leavitt, has a good quarterback this year, always nice, but 8 catches on 11 targets, 126 yards, 2 touchdowns. Very productive week for him in a close win for ASU. They needed every bit of it. 82.2 PFF grade. He is the best this class has to offer. I don't think there's a lot that can happen between now and the end of the season that will change my mind on that. Maybe he tests really, really badly, but I don't think so. I think that he is the man. Casey Concepcion, interesting name. He has another name he goes by. It's not KC. It's another something else. It starts with a K. I can't remember what it is. It's like cat or I don't know. But Texas A&M, I've talked about him before. He was intriguing to me before the season started. 7 catches on 9 targets, so very efficient. 113 yards. Did have 1 drop, but he was still very efficient. He still averaged well over 10 yards a target. 80.4 PFF grade for that Aggie team. So good stuff happening over there. I like him. One of the USC guys. It feels like every week we have at least one USC guy here. Makai Lemon. 16 targets for him for the Trojans. 11 catches. 151, 2 touchdowns. 91.6. They got a fun 1-2 over there at USC. And I do wonder if they had this receiver set up when Caleb Williams was there, would that have been a legitimate national championship contender? I would imagine so. Like I got to believe that there's a lot of regret that they didn't have things cross over a little bit cleaner with their quarterback, with their top quarterback talent and their top receiver talent. Chris Bell of Louisville, big game for him. He's a guy I've talked about before. 10 catches, 14 targets, a $135, 1 touchdown. Did have a drop, but he's intriguing. Not quite as into him as I am the top guys. I don't think that Bell would ever be like a first-round pick, but I could see him being in day 2, and he'll definitely be in day 3 if not. Like, there's no doubt in my mind that he's draftable. Probably early day 3 at worst. 75.7 PFF. Deuce Robinson of FSU, he's the one guy here who's kind of a late round guy, and not really. He might, I could see him being a 4th round pick if the draft was tomorrow, and he can move up. That FSU team, he is playing with Castellanos, who's a decent college quarterback, but people are not going to look at him and say, oh, that's the reason why Deuce Robinson was so productive. 12 targets, 9 catches, 147 yards, and a touchdown. FSU did suffer a rough loss, and the air is out of the balloon on their season a little bit at this point, but Deuce was on the loose, 84 PFF grade. And there were other receivers I could have talked about in this segment that I just decided not to put here, so really good group. Offensive line, can't really say the same there. We got some decent stuff at right guard, but center this week was tough. I had a hard time finding good guys to talk about this week for center. The good news, the silver lining, is that Parker Brailsford played a pretty good game, I think, for Alabama. Although we're definitely at the point where the standard for him is kind of getting lowered, because there was a point in time even last year where he was viewed as like the best center in the class, and maybe he still is, but over and over and over again, he just kind of seems like he's okay. And even this week, I'm not going crazy over it. He didn't allow any pressures against Georgia. That's okay. I'll give him some credit for that, but Alabama couldn't really run the ball. They ran the ball for 3 yards a carry. And his PFF grade was 67, which is certainly above average, but I'm not super excited about it. But that is kind of above what we've seen from him a lot. And Logan Jones of Iowa, he allowed a pressure. Iowa didn't even run for 100 yards. They were even worse. And he had a bad run block grade, but kind of by virtue of the fact that he played at a adequate level for Iowa, he makes this list anyway because I needed a second guy, and Jake Slaughter didn't play, and there were a couple other centers that I liked, but they were bad. I don't know, man. I have high hopes for this center class, but this was not a good week. Right guard was definitely better, and we got a couple new names here, which is always excited. We got Keelan Rutledge of Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech finally has some representation here. They're having a great season. He allowed 0 pressures. Georgia Tech ran the ball for about 163 yards. Good game there. And he was graded well in run blocking and by PFF's overall metric, 72.4. He's becoming a clear target. Armaj Reed Adams of Texas A&M, he was good for the Aggies. Did allow 1 pressure, but A&M ran for over 200 yards, 4.4 yards per. Remember, that's with sack yards taken out. 78.4 run block grade, 77 overall. So, according to PFF, he was great. He was borderline one of the best in the country. And final guy, this is another later round guy, but with right guards, that's fine. You get good right guards in the late rounds all the time. Omar Agbedian. Omar Agbedian of Baylor, the Baylor Bears. Didn't allow any pressures. Baylor ran for over 200 yards, so they've got that very, very crisp passing attack, and they run the ball well. 5.6 yards per carry. Well graded by PFF, 73 overall. Good stuff from Omar. We'll talk about him more later this year, I'm sure. That's it for this video. A little bit better here, I think. Still not stellar. I think the wide receivers this week were pretty stellar, but we're not getting what we want out of the offensive linemen. Granted, these are the offensive line positions where you don't need dominance, you just need competence. And I think there's going to be competence out there. All right. See you guys later. Go Hawks. Another video coming in a couple hours. Hope you guys had a good time. See you soon.